Okay, friend, let's talk about these pants. So this is the hole, all right? Do you mind if we move the coffee so I can lay out the pants? All right, Michael, do you want to explain the problem with your pants?
Well, the problem is it's ripped. You see here, I got snagged on something and just tore. I mean, my pocket's right there and it covers up the skin, but you know, sometimes it's not. Oh, what's happening is the pocket's coming out. My lip balm ends up coming out of here, and it's just getting worse. And yeah.
Okay, so I think what we should do is put maybe a little piece of interfacing or something behind it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. Not just over this, but I think what I want to do is start here, go all the way across, down, and then all the way across. And then I want to mirror it on this side so that it sort of looks like it's a design element rather than just a repair. What do you think about that?
I think that is a great creative idea. Sure.
Yeah? All right. I think we should have a go at it. So
Although this is going to bring too much attention into the crotch. Maybe some arrows.
Look, you've already got a hole in the crotch.
Another one? No, okay.
So
Have fun with it.
yeah? All right. We're going to have fun with it. Do you want me to use like I have like a army green color thread, or do you want something really bright and garish?
No, I think a subtle,
You want the army green color?
yeah, make it match.
Ish. Match-ish.
Right.
Oh, let me tell you what's cool about these pants. Besides the fact that they're literally cool brand. Okay. This material here is stretchy. So these pants are like amazing for anything involving like bending and squatting and all that. This guy loves those pants.
Yeah, pretty nice.
So that's why it's important to fix them. Looks like the neighbors took a page out of our book and got some laundry hanging in the yard. Looks like fresh tie-dye too. I'm kind of jealous. Tie-dye's fun. We should do that soon. Okay, so the very, very first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna hand tack the fuzzy edges together to make sure that they stay in place while I'm ironing on some interfacing. So I'm just gonna do the thing. I can always take this out later if it shows. It probably will actually show, but I can take it out later. I believe this stitch is called a baseball stitch, although I could be wrong, and I'm gonna look that up later. So you may notice, in fact, I'll bring up a little bit closer, but let me tie this off. You may notice that I have made this overlap ever so slightly. That's because if we didn't do that, when I go to zigzag over it, there would still be fuzzy edges sticking out, and the zigzag really wouldn't be doing much to fix it. I do believe that this will press flat when I go to put the interfacing in it. So now I'm going to cut a little piece of interfacing that's about that size and shape. This is actually a really great thing to do with the little leftover bits of interfacing after you've like cut out, say, a button band or a collar. My lab is kind of getting really messy again. I'm gonna have to do another big clean. Alright, the iron is warming up. I got my little interfacing patch, and I'm gonna stick it right over here. Steam is actually essential for ironing on interfacing, believe it or not. It helps the glue adhere to the fabric. I'm going to draw a line here that matches up with this. This one comes down, and then I'm going to draw a line that goes from there and is parallel to this line up here. I'm going to mark where it is. And I'm going to measure how long it is. The distance of this line, including the tear, is exactly 5 inches. Basically, yeah, so this line needs to be perpendicular to that too. Okay. Yeah. This is like, you know, awkward. And that's just a fact of life. Okay. Alright, and now I have a very handy line that I can just do that zigzag thing too. That's the plan. Ah, the magic of the free arm, yes. Okay. This is still going to be a little bit awkward though, because I'm working on a completed pair of pants. But here we are. So I'm going to start by sticking the needle down directly into the ditch, right where the two fabrics meet. I'm going to stick the needle directly in the ditch. And the purpose for this is to, well, try to make it look like it's supposed to be there and not afterthought, you know. Alright, and then I've got the line that I drew directly underneath the line that is in the middle of the foot there. And I'm going to stitch on the line. And I'm going to sew actually just a little bit past the hole, and I'm going to stick the needle down on the outside so that when I flip it around, I will be stitching directly on top of my old stitching and making a very nice 90-degree angle. And here we go, stitching over the hole. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stitch a little bit past it, but this time I have the needle on the other side so that when I flip it, I'm making another nice 90-degree angle. And also, I'm making sure that the pocket bag is not stuck underneath the needle, because Michael uses his pockets. We don't want to sew them shut. And I'm going to go all the way to the ditch where the fabrics meet. And I'm going to stick my needle directly into the ditch. Ta-da! I'm going to leave myself enough to tie a knot, because I don't want to back tack here because it's highly visible. That's all. So I will be pulling the threads to the back and tying a knot. Do you want to see it before I do the next one? Alright, so as I said, it starts directly at the edge of the fabric, goes all the way around, along to here, up. So these threads sticking out here are my original basting stitches, and I can take those out. And that's where it ends. And now I'm going to do the other side. Only difference is that this one has no hole to sew shut, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just making decorative stitches on this side so that it matches the others. So I'm just gonna pull a little bit on the interior thread and then use the seam ripper to stick in the hole, or in the loop, and then pull the thread to the back. Probably anybody who's ever sewn anything has done this before, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. So I'm tying them on the back just so there isn't like a highly visible back tacking, because it's a just as much a decorative stitch as it is a repair. And last but not least, I am going to pluck out my original basting stitches. Unless, of course, you like the Frankenstein look. Alright, your pants have been repaired. Yeah, look at them.
So fast. Well, they're interesting. Certainly Flaro-like.
Really?
Yeah. You happy with them? I like them.
Yeah? Put them on! The world wants to see! I'm not gonna film you changing. We should go outside where the lighting's better. Don't trip on the cat. Ooh, yeah. So this is where the hole was, and it's not there anymore! You're standing sideways and it makes the stitching look crooked. But when you stand correctly, oh yeah, it matches.
Yeah, matchy match.
Yeah. Look at that. So nice.
Fancy.
Good grief. There's a hole in my shorts. Look at that. Let's fix it before it gets any worse. I'm threaded up in white to match, so as you can see, this is where the hole is, where the missing stitches are. And on the back side, you can see where the missing stitches are, so I'm just going to replicate those stitches. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have anything trapped behind there that doesn't belong there. I'm going to start a little bit. Ooh, yeah, can't have anything trapped back there that doesn't belong back there. Alright, so. We're going to start a little bit further back than where the actual opening is, so we can do a little back tack before we get into the hole, I guess. Alright. Now it's flat back there. Don't need any extras. Don't need any puckers. Okay, 2 back tack stitches. Just checking to make sure again. And follow the old stitching line. A little bit past where the opening is, and do a couple more back tack stitches. And that's it. Let's look at the outside. I'm not gonna call it seamless because it's literally a seam, but there it is. Hello friends, it is far too nice out to stay inside, especially when I have a hand sewing project to do. My sport bra, the strap is just coming out a little bit, so I'm gonna stick it back in and sew it down. This is a hand sew task, because if I were to do this on the machine, I would have to unstitch a lot of stuff. So basically, I'm just gonna pop this back in and sew through it so it matches the other side. That's the plan. And since this is a obviously very high stress area on a high stress garment, I'm gonna sew through it multiple times. But of course with a matching thread. You hear the birds chirping? You hear Molly meowing? Alright, so this is where I fixed it. Can you even tell? Let's go running. I love running through this neighborhood because of all the trees. I don't actually live in this neighborhood. Did you know that urban areas with few trees are significantly hotter than areas that have lots of trees, like this neighborhood? And usually, well, poor people live in those hot places. So, believe it or not, we gotta fight for tree equality.
According to an article published in 2021 from the University of Chicago, there are often fewer trees in historically redlined and segregated neighborhoods, as well as areas that experience higher levels of past industrial activity. Those same areas tend to have higher levels of particulate air pollution and higher summer temperatures, which can negatively impact human health. According to the CDC, an average of 702 Americans die of heat-related causes every year, and 68,000 more visit emergency rooms across the country for heat-related illnesses. So, obviously, increasing the amount of tree shade in a neighborhood could literally save lives. And we get to make great puns about it being a shady neighborhood. As you can see from this map at treeequityscore.com, the neighborhood I ran through earlier has a score of 99, which is great. Not all areas of Holland score so well. The downtown and industrial areas only score in the 50s. Each score indicates whether there are enough trees in a neighborhood for everyone to experience the health, economic, and climate benefits the trees provide. Scores are based on tree canopy, surface temperature, income, employment, race, age, and health factors. A 0 to 100 point system makes it easy to understand how a community fares. Tree equity, friends! If you wish to contribute to the cause, you can plant a preferably native species tree in your yard if you have a yard, or you can donate to organizations such as AmericanForest.org, OneTreePlanted.org, or other local organizations in your area. There will be links in the description.